Can you hear me now? Greetings and salad mutations. Is the mic picking me up and working? Awesome. So let me see if I can share with you what I've got here. I've got a couple of pieces of gear that I need to play with for the day job. I have an Extron SMP351, and let me change these layouts. Bear with me because this is part of what today's about for me, is figuring out how this box actually works. Yes, unfortunately it is mono just because of the way that I have it wired up right now. Everything's kind of jimmy rigged together just to get it up. So let's see if I go to a side-by-side layout. Let's see if that gives you that. And then, what do we have on that other camera? There we go. So that's the second camera over here is actually pointed at the first camera over here. So these are the PTZ Optics cameras. Good afternoon, or probably, I guess, evening, Leo, Bob, 3D Extruded, Eddie, Biggie Man. Howdy, guys. So I guess people are starting to pop up. So try to explain. I'm working on some gear for the day job, and it's in a couple of cameras and an Extron streaming box. I figured why not try to kill two birds with one stone. I would actually kind of do a mock setup here in the garage and see how it all works. One of the cool things about the box is that it allows me to do actually multiple simultaneous RTMP streams. So I could theoretically, with this box, be streaming to YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook or something simultaneously at 1080p. It's a box that's designed for classrooms or corporate education centers. So it's a lot more money than what you would use for average YouTube. I need to write some control drivers for these for a project that I have coming up, hence the reason I have the gear. But to be able to do that, I have to understand how it works a little bit better. So why not try to experiment with it a little bit? So the cameras are designed for video conference, Miggy Man Mike. They designed for video conference or for distance education or presentation systems. Let me see if I can show you these. If I can make this work here, hang on. I'm still trying to figure out how this stuff works best. So let's go to input 2 here. Audio should be back. There we go. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Good. Yep, okay, so sorry about that. The way that I have it rigged up for testing, the audio is actually being injected over HDMI through one of the cameras, which is the primary camera. So when I switched it over to the computer view like that is why we lost audio. So let me see if I can figure out another way to do that. Let me step around here and see if I can move a cable. Hang on a second. Bear with me. Okay, can you hear me still? Is audio back or did we lose it? Coming in on channel 1, or channel 2, I should say. So now when I go to this preset on this guy, you should still have audio, right? And now if I go to here, you should be seeing my computer and have audio, and the other camera up in the window. So these cameras, yeah. So the Extron box is this SMP351. Good. And it's obviously it's outside of the realm of your standard, you know, do-it-at-home YouTuber and stuff, but it is intended for, like I said, corporate environments or education environments. So that's what I need to work at it for. I have a project that I'm working on in Arizona where these are going to be going into some medical training suites so that they can record it. Now, here's the other cool part of this, and let's see if we can create some infinity. I'm taking the loop out of this box through an Elgato cam link, and I'm creating inception there. So if I bring this guy up full screen, it just kind of created the whole inception thing. So it allows you to, theory says I could take the output of this box, the windowed output of this box, actually bring it into OBS on the laptop and actually still use the laptop or your computer for doing your recording and streaming. And that would allow you to mix it with web cameras or other content devices. These are the cameras that we're playing with today if the website opens. There we go. These are made by PTZ Optics, and these are the SDI models. If they load up here, which look like these guys. What is really cool about these, so these have simultaneous outputs. The cameras themselves can actually do an RTMP stream. So technically, you could actually stream the camera directly to YouTube or Facebook or whatever, any RTMP server. But these have all simultaneous outputs, so they have the SDI and the HDMI simultaneously. And with a firmware update, something that Dustin Chapman's been playing with and a lot of others have been looking at is something that's coming up down the road here called NDI, which is SDI over the network. It's a low latency, time deterministic video network. It's not necessarily a stream, but it's video over IP. And that is just a firmware update or a different model of the camera. So that's going to be kind of cool, and I hope I can get these back to play with once they release that. The cameras, we can control them through their web interface. course, I can't see what I'm doing unless I go over here. Yep, so you saw those moving all over. Correct, Miggy Man. SDI and HDSDI are film industry standards or broadcast standards. They are also used a lot in commercial AV, though, for distributed audio video, because it is a simple coax cable that needs to be ran, and it's very easy to retrofit into older installations that had, say, 5-wire RGB HV installed. As long as the coax that was pulled for that older baseband video is high enough bandwidth, you can push HDSDI over it. So it saves a lot of rewiring. Let's see if I can get this camera back up. So we'll get that guy to stop looking at the ground. Oops, I set that, didn't I? Let's see if that will go to. Well, doesn't like this. The Camlink is actually really nice. I've been testing it with both a PC and the Mac. It actually works really well because it's been driverless on both. I've just plugged it in and it immediately saw it as a web camera. So it seems to be almost the perfect application for that. On the Mac, it was a lot better than the HD60 or the HD60S. I mean, it came right up. The HD60S, I had to fight with that to try to get it to work with OBIS. And it was useless to me at the time because I was streaming from the MacBook. So I ended up sending it off. Oh, thank you, Eddie. Thank you very much. I very, very appreciate that. Well, so I know this is working and doing what I need it to here. So let me go back here and change this presetting. And let's see what that camera is looking at. There we go. So let's try to move that camera there. Oops, wrong one. So I know you guys obviously probably don't have the interest in this that I do, just because this is my day job, but I did kind of want to give you guys a sneak peek into, you know, part of my world or what I do behind the scenes. But that being said, Quanto? Let's drive this the other direction. It's backwards somehow. Oh, these cameras, I cannot say what this equipment costs live, but probably, Jeffrey, probably what you make in about 3 months. I'm just making an assumption there, but it would be a nice paycheck for anybody to cover these cameras, especially the NDI versions. Again, these are pro grade. These are designed for video conference suites. You know, they're video conference suites, auditoriums. They have come in both a 12x or a 20x flavor. These are starting to get used in a lot of unmanned TV studios. So where you don't necessarily have cameramen, but you have multiple cameras mounted around at different angles, and you need to be able to recall them. So what I'll end up doing with these cameras actually is I'm writing drivers to control them with a Extron system. They use a standard Sony protocol to control them, but we're going to have 21 of these in the medical suites that we're working on. So they'll all be selectable and controllable from a 15-inch touch panel. So they're yeah, they're nice little cameras. And let's see if I can get that to zoom in a little bit more. So there's the Extron box over there. Oops. Sitting there doing its thing. But so while I've got you guys here and it's a captive audience, do you guys have any questions on the Mark III or the anything 3D printing related? While I have you here, this came off the Mark III. Let's see if I can get it to focus in on that. Let's look at that side. That came off with default settings, and it's not wanting to focus. And I don't have a real-time preview of these, so I'm seeing it in latency with you guys. Mark off my wish list. I don't know the answer to that. I do not know the answer to that one, Jeffrey. I have not tried the 2130s yet, or rather put them through their paces. I did do, well, I tried to the first night, but it was like 4 a.m. when I finished building it. And I didn't realize that it needed, or that it couldn't be in quiet mode. I had to set it up for quiet mode. I will say with the MK3, it does need to be out of the box. You have to go into the firmware. MK3, sorry. People have been saying that, now I'm saying it. With the Mark III, you've got to go into the firmware and set the filament sensor on. And then as far as the feedback from the stepper drivers, they are quiet, but I haven't really got to test the bouncing to see if you can stop it and have it resume printing well. That's on my to-do list. Unfortunately, because of space, I don't have it in here right now. It's in the house where I don't have any cameras. So once I get some other projects cleared out of here, as you can tell probably on the camera pictures, the garage is a disaster right now. Yeah, the MK3. The Mark III has an MMU that's going to, they're already pre-selling it, but it's not going to be released until next year. I have no intentions of putting an MMU on this one. I want this just to be a rock-solid, stable printer. What I want is to be able to have this be my go-to, so as I'm taking apart and tinkering with all of the other boxes that I have, or upgrading them, I've got a rock that I can go to print the parts that I need for those. Hey Mike, how are you? I have not had any false alarms with the filament sensor yet, but to be honest, I haven't had time to test it yet. Yeah, now if I eventually can pick up a second Mark III, I wouldn't mind putting an MMU on that, but I do want this one that I have just to be my rock. It's going to release the the DI3, the duplicator i3, as my safe, stable printer. Yeah, Miggy Man Mike, that is, a lot of people have been playing with using the 2130s to get rid of the end stops, or they've been using FSRs at the top of the channel. I guess that's technically still an end stop, but they've been using the force sensing resistors at the top of the delta tower to get rid of those. I do plan to print a lot of things over the holidays. Mostly things that my wife and kids, have seen that they wanted, like the all-in-one measuring cup. I believe that Jeff did. And then, of course, after I printed it, they realized that it's actually not very practical for actual use. It's large. It's not. It's difficult to fill up with anything or to pour it and actually to use the measuring cup. And it attracts cat hairs like nothing. But it is a really awesome test print, if nothing else. My oldest daughter wants a new ornament for or Christmas tree topper for the top of her tree, and a bunch of other ornaments and stuff that they've asked me to. Yeah, cat hairs just cannot be made to go away. They're like magnetic attraction to everything. Miggy Man Mike, the FSRs, consider that, and also piezios might be another way to go. If you're looking for something that's not necessarily mechanical, the piezios may be a way to go too, because you could just put one at the top and maybe have like a little finger at the top of your skate that just slams into the piezio or the FSR. Do I need more materials? Right now I am good on materials, but I need to start getting rid of spools that are half used and stuff, and take stock of what I have. I mean, I guess I can always use more materials. Haven't been making Christmas lights from tiny jars. That's a good idea. Yeah, Eddie, I agree with you. I mean, you may, since you already have the MMU on the Mark II S, you might hold off on that. There's no real reason to do it. I still have those piezios and stuff that I haven't had a chance to play with yet either. I really need to get this mess cleaned up so that I can focus on getting Ozzy back on his feet and getting all that stuff done. And yeah, Ron, it would be nice if those were a little bit more interchangeable. I mean, I do applaud Prusa for making things as interchangeable as he can, at least. I mean, he's done a lot better job of forward progression and stuff while still maintaining some of that. Little Monster randomly calibrated? Was it in the middle of a print, or was it just sitting idle when it did that? You have to post some pictures of those lights when you get them done. I'd like to see that. Let me go over here and let's turn off that second camera. See how long that takes to catch up. Yeah, Eddie Little Monster. Eddie Munster. I think that's where you're going, Jeffrey, right? That's bizarre, Eddie. You may, I'm wondering if maybe your SD card, because you have the S base in that, correct? The smoothie board. I'm wondering if you're, maybe with all your power hits and stuff, that if the micro SD card maybe is corrupt or something from trying to read it. Awesome. Well, so all the gear seems to be working. I'm going to have this probably sometime into January, so I may or may not be playing with this a little bit more, at least for live streams. I mean, while I have it, I might as well make use of it, right? And it's fun. This would definitely be handy for a build because of the pan tilt zoom capabilities of these cameras. So unfortunately, I don't have any coming up before these have to go sent back out into the field, but hopefully we will. So send me out a review unit of which? Of the little monster? Oh, hi, Chelsea. I would love a chance to play with a little monster. Oh, the cameras. You know, there's other camera vendors that I can definitely try to see if I can get more. I mean, we've access to Marshall and a lot of other vendors as well. So this is the first time playing with these, and so far they are not bad. I mean, this is out of the box. The color on them isn't the best, and it hasn't been tuned or calibrated at all. So, but it's not the best color, but it's not bad. Definitely needs to be calibrated if I was going to keep them around. But I'll get more cameras across the bench to test here and there. So if you guys enjoy seeing the little sneak peeks of what I do into the day job, I'll keep trying to do little streams like this where we bring those into the lab. So I'm glad it looks good, Mike. You should be getting 1080p 30, I believe, is what it's streaming at. Yeah, Eddie, that's what you've been saying. Love to see you post some of your side-by-side pictures on Twitter. I mean, the pictures that you've been sending me that are coming off the tornado compared to the CR10, they look fabulous. Let's see. That will be awesome. All right, well, I will wrap this up here, folks. I do want to wish, if I don't talk to you guys, I want to wish everyone a very happy holidays, a happy Christmas, a Merry New Year. Reverse that, or not, depending on what part of the world you're in, I guess. Be good to yourselves, be good to your families, and I will definitely have some videos out before the end of the year, so stay tuned. I hope to get some downtime between Christmas and New Year, so maybe we can try to squeeze some live streams in there, or at least squeeze in some live updating, you know, just working on the printers. May or may not be that exciting, but at least if you're bored and got nothing to do, you can sit and listen along as I poke myself with tools and scream and curse. But with that said, let me figure out how to stop the stream on this box. I'm going to go with encoding presets. Let's see if this works.